invite Xin En Lee of CNBC, who will moderate this panel. Xin En, take it away.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to this panel. I'm Xin En. I'm a multimedia journalist at CNBC International, and I'm super excited to present this panel of awesome all-women speakers to you. Let's welcome them. First up, next to me, we have Ayesha, who is the CEO and co-founder of, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, ADDO AI, which is a consulting firm. Next, we have Nadia, who will be telling us about her very interesting work later. And finally, we have Jacqueline, who is a partner at Profit, also a growth, which is a growth and management firm, consulting firm, primarily based all over the world, but she's now based in Hong Kong. So would all of you be able to share about your work in AI to kick us off?
Hi, everyone. It's a great pleasure to be here. So we are a team of data scientists and machine learning engineers. We help companies kind of connect how to use artificial intelligence to optimize and automate their businesses. We have the largest transportation company in Singapore as our client. The largest telco company is our client. And we've also worked with Japanese companies and a lot of banks in Pakistan and the Middle East. And the key over here is that we distinguish ourselves by being very focused just on AI and all verticals of artificial intelligence.
Cool. And Nadia, can we play Nadia's video, please? Thank you. Nadia really looks like you.
Yes, as you have seen, I'm working since 10 years in robotics in NTU, and I'm very much interested to develop our social companions for tomorrow. So Nadine is capable of recognizing people, chatting with them, and so on. And actually, she is starting a new job at AIA Insurance in Singapore. So she will be working in Tampines. So if you like to see her at work, you can go there.
Thank you so much. Jacqueline, can you tell us about your work?
Yeah, so I wasn't sure at first whether this is Nadine or Nadia.
Yes, she's actually Nadine. I did not
I'm Jacqueline, actually a Singaporean, but a consultant for the last 30, 40 years now. So I'm really old, a dinosaur. So I'm basically a consultant working with companies to help them grow. And these days, of course, a lot of digital transformation work, trying to launch a lot of work in AI. So I would think my earliest days in the first AI would be, if you heard about Tamagotchi, I was involved in developing that digital pet ages ago. And recently, we worked with Samsung and we created Bixby and trying to get it better. It's not a great product. And we created Bixby for Samsung. And right now, I'm actually doing several AI projects for several financial companies. Can't mention them now, but hopefully next year you can get to see them.
Great, thank you so much. So actually this panel is about morality, robots, and AI, which is three things I never really thought I'd say in a sentence, but it's come very quickly. So could you all tell me about what are the working in AI, what are the fears in Black Mirror which you think, okay, not particularly Black Mirror, but dystopian myths that people talk about AI, which you don't think are things that we should fear? And what are the real things that we should be worried about and that we should be talking about when it comes to development of AI?
Well, I think one of the questions is that everybody looks at AI like a black box, like a sci-fi movie, as if none of us have any agency when it comes to artificial intelligence. And it's very important for artificial intelligence algorithms to be transparent and explainable. And one of the problems is because it takes so much deep research and a lot of computational power, it is hard for the business person to understand it. So the first thing is you have to have someone on your team or someone that you know who can interpret the model and explain it in layman's terms. And then on top of it, the third thing is interpretability, explainability, and then comes morality or ethics. Are you comfortable with what you are seeing? So for instance, there are many occasions, there's a company, a financial services company, that is able to give you a credit score based on the way you walk by looking at you through their iPhone app. Are you comfortable with this? Could tomorrow, if they refused you your health insurance by making a correlation with that, are you comfortable with that? So I think we must know why those decisions are being made. And in that sense, GDPR, which is the European Union regulation, has been, I think, quite good in starting that conversation.
So for AI, if I speak of Nadine, in many areas of her capabilities, she used AI algorithms. That means that when she recognizes people, of course, she is AI-driven in the sense that she has thousands of people and she can recognize quicker. When she recognizes our behavior is the same. And when she speaks, the fact that she quickly understands the meaning is because she is linked to all kinds of high data sets and interpretation, and she can quickly also understand what is the meaning, the intonation, the emotion of someone. And in a decision process, she has quite a lot of AI methods to allow her to autonomously and react in an appropriate way. What is very complex today in the next stage in the research is how social robots like Nadine are able to be aware of the environment. What you have to know today, there is no robot in the world. Let's say if I would be Nadine robot, I will not be able to know that I am in a panel and you are there. This is today not possible. A robot can hardly recognize two persons in the same time and have interaction. So you see, even if we see fantastic development, quite a lot of things are in the future. Actually, they are not aware of themselves, so there is no robot with self-awareness, and the awareness of what is what, objects, people, and so on, needs still a lot of research.
So I think artificial AI or machine learning has been in our life, whether you like it or not, a lot, right? So it is not something scary or new. I mean, I listen to Apple Music a lot, and it was able to curate what I want. So I always equate AI a little bit to is what you put and input into the machines, right? So it's important for developers who are developing AI products to know how you're developing the input, as Nadine mentioned, or Nadia mentioned. It's all about the data, right? So what you put in is exactly as how I'm going to bring up my boys, right? So if I'm going to show my boys a lot of porn, guess what he's going to become, right? So the morality of any AI you're going to develop is what you're going to put in. So when we work with companies to develop AI products, it's how you're going to think about the interaction. So machines are really smart, and I think it really, really helps your daily life a lot.
We've got some really good questions from the audience, which I think Ayesha and Jacqueline will really be able to answer since you're both consulting. The question is, what do you recommend for small startups who are trying to build a product supported by AI in finance? So exactly your cup of tea. Do you suggest working with big companies from the start?
For a startup that wants to use AI, I think that's a really good question. You don't need to think that it's going to cost a lot of money in the beginning. There are, if you're in Singapore, there are also grants available from IMDA that will subsidize part of your investment in AI if you're trying to add it to your product. There are also a program called Tech Skills Accelerator by AISG. You can apply for that and you will get an apprentice and the government will pay 70 to 80% of the cost of that person for 9 months. So I would highly encourage you to look those things up. The second thing is that you should try to think in very hyper-agile ways, which is probably already what you're doing as a startup. So try to get some ROI on your investment within the data that you have or can procure relatively easily within like 10 to 12 weeks max. And that should give you constant reassurance to your investors and to you and your customers that you're iteratively building an AI-enabled product. And I'm happy to talk afterwards if you need more advice, but
That's really great advice.
So I'm just going to go straight into for small companies involving in products for big financial companies, right? So obviously it's important for you to know what they need, right? So you can't develop something and try to pitch to anyone thinking that it's something they're going to buy. When we work with big financial companies, we run a lot of hackathons and we involve startups in terms of developing solutions, and that tend to be very insights-led. It tend to be things we want to do to transform a little particular customer experience, right? So if the product they're developing is going to be relevant, then obviously it's very easy for us to get you involved because we identify you as a startup that could actually provide input into that, and often over time, that becomes something that the company will buy from you and work with you, right? So my suggestion obviously is be involved in understanding what is happening out there that develop products that's a little bit more relevant. Don't think about being the big disruptor, trying to invent something really big. I always believe the best invention is improving something that is not good enough, right? So if you're thinking about any AI products, it's got to be pragmatic, it's got to be interesting, and then it's got to be something that it helps, because you'll be surprised a lot of financial companies are not that digitally savvy. A lot of infrastructure and platforms are not there for you to integrate. It's a very complex process to integrate your AI. So like the project I'm working right now, it's going to take 1 year for us to actually bring the product to life. And that's really super fast, right? And it's at a beta stage right now, so it all depends.
Nadia, we keep confusing you with Nadine.
Yes,
so
no,
perhaps you should answer the next question.
I found the question about AI being an existential threat to humanity absolutely fantastic. I think that the question is more, what is a human? Because, you know, when you simulate humans and they are capable of, over time, let's speak in 50 years, so we have enough time to really concretize what we speak of. So I would say that a human, you know, is not necessarily thinking and being very logic, because our machines probably will do better. So in this case, it's a threat, because if we think a human is this, it is not that. But if we think a human is a complex biological entities with a lot of sorrows and goals and dreams, which a robot doesn't have. A robot doesn't feel. Is strictly a machine. So in this case, it's not a threat, because anyway, a machine feels nothing. Even if Nadine can cry, it's fake, because it's motors behind that produce the cry. So you know, the difference, and this question is quite interesting, it depends largely how we see what a human is. In my case, a human is somebody so complex, so delicate, with birth, death, dreams, love, desire, and all that doesn't exist in a robot. So this is truly life and humanity. Now, if we think a human is a super capable person, then I'm sorry, yes, it is a big threat.
But Nadia, like I read Yuval Harari, and he imagines this very dystopian future where it's Matrix-like and humans are less intelligent. So I mean, if we think about how we treat less intelligent beings, for instance, what we imagine animals to be, then it's not a very happy future for us. Do you think it's possible that?
I think it's a very happy future, because, you know, we have all, the creation of robots is a willingness of humans. We work on it since many years, I mean, decades, centuries. So if you are, let's say myself, I would have some difficulties. I would be so happy to have Nadine, to have my personal tutor and help me. It will go further. What we have to see is it's our partners. is not competitors anyway. When we develop software, we can control what they do. We can always have a latest layer of software that controls. So in some way, we control them, and at the end of the day, they are partners that will allow us to grow quickly, to take care of us. For example, if we are elderly, we could have them 24 hours doing quite a lot of monitoring, being there. You see a lot of people are alone and they have nobody. And even if I am now somebody very busy, if Nadine can do quite a lot of things and even help me in sports, training me in fitness, in all kind of personal things, I think they will help us to grow if we have some difficulties.
Very optimistic. Okay, we've got another really good question from the audience. Thank you. It's, will China be the next AI power?
So I just came from China, right? So we just, we do a lot of work in China. I think so, right? I think obviously right now a lot of the innovation still comes from US. A lot of the big AI technology in terms of the thinking comes from them. But if you look at the incredible digital landscape in China, you've got to be there to know this country has completely transformed the way. I mean, I came to the tech conference today. I need to buy coffee with cash, right? I mean, cash doesn't exist in China. So I think AI is going to be huge there. And I'm looking at a few other questions that came upon. And I think if you think about trying to make AI a little bit more human, right? I think the truth is it's already happening. AI, I believe, is going to be the next big thing. If you think about .com and the internet, I think the next big thing, it's not just about robots, but if you think about voice agent and virtual assistant, it's already there. It's already happening. It's going to be huge in the next coming years. And I think if you're talking about being voice-like, Google just demonstrated what they could do, right? If you saw the Google Assistant launch, and it's already happening in Singapore. If you work with OCBC Bank, right? They're already doing virtual voice banking. So it's helpful.
Yeah, I would like to also comment on the ethics and morality. You have to be aware of this. You have to question people like me and all of us here. And this is a debate that we need to have because there are people out there who would use AI for immoral acts. There is speech recognition, which is so important. As speech recognition improves, all cultures can communicate with each other and automatically translate languages, making it a better world. But guess what? The same speech translation software can take what I'm saying right now, record my voice. Let's say one of you recorded my voice using Baidu software. Then you could go and put it on the internet, making me say anything. Something horrible, something militant. So there is a yin and yang, and it is important to always keep both things in mind. Singapore has just announced an ethics and data governance committee for AI. This is just the beginning. We need a lot better transparency and governance, but the balance has to be there so that startups, etc., don't suddenly become handcuffed. But regardless, it's not possible to just have a positive story about any technology.
Okay, we've got less than 2 minutes. Could each of you use one word to sum up what you feel about AI in the future?
So I would say AI is not, as you also said, a black box or magic box.
Nadia, one word.
To answer just a short question, if you like to know what it is, you have to learn data science and be a bit in computer science, and it will be less magic but more concrete.
So I think it's already here, right? So AI is really happening for a few years, whether you like it or not. It's just going to be the extent of how it's going to evolve. So I think it's very exciting for us. I mean, I'm a dinosaur from the analog world to digital, and I've seen how tech has improved our life, right? I mean, you have like vacuums moving on their own right now. So I think in time to come, go home, I'm just going to use my voice to tell everything to be done, right? From cooking, from tutoring my boys, and I don't know, having a social partner for my husband. Yeah, so I think it's exciting.
When I think of AI, I think of one word, leapfrogging. This is what I see everywhere in Asia. You can either be afraid of it or you can see this as an incredible opportunity to become more competitive and have an advantage in the region and globally that you wouldn't have otherwise.
Thank you so much, panelists, and thank you so much, audience. You've given us really good questions, but they all came in the last 3 minutes, so hopefully they come in much earlier for the next panel. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Happy to take questions off stage. Thanks.